Hello, my friends. I'm Jeff Beveridge, Project Management and Leadership Trainer with Corner Post Management Experts, coming at you today with another delicious, refreshing knowledge snack to feed your appetite for learning and fuel your appetite for future learning. Today's topic, we're going to be taking a look at earned value management. So, what is earned value management? Earned value management is a performance measurement technique that helps us evaluate how are we doing on our project from both a cost and schedule standpoint, and it also helps to communicate and normalize this data in a way that allows us to communicate with our project stakeholders and have them compare different projects and programs, different work packages or control accounts within a project or program, be able to compare these activities apples to apples in terms of their performance. And earned value management is a very, very big topic. So this is going to be at least a two-part knowledge snack here. What I want to do is start off identifying and defining the three key variables that become the inputs for earned value management calculations. In future knowledge snacks, we'll talk a little bit about how we can calculate variance and performance index to look backwards on our project and say, how have we been doing so far? We will also look at how can we do some of the forecasting or forward-facing calculations that determine what is the expected end result of our project and what kind of performance would we need to do or achieve in order to get there. But for now, we're just going to be looking at these three variables: planned value, actual cost, and earned value, because these, and understanding these and knowing how to identify these on your project is the first step to being able to run those calculations and identify, like we said, variance and performance index, as well as some of our forecasting metrics as well. So looking at these variables, planned value. How much money does the plan say we will spend? And I want to call aside that I said money. We're going to be looking at dollar values here, right? We're going to be talking about value in terms of dollars, but something we will see is that this dollar value number does not only represent cost on the project. It actually represents cost, schedule, and scope. More to come on that later. Keep that in the back of your head, right? Planned value. How much does the plan say we will spend for a certain amount of work or for the project as a whole, depending on where we are on that planned value line? For every point in the project, we know exactly how much the plan says we are going to spend. Actual cost, exactly what it sounds like. For the work that we have performed, how much did we actually spend on that work? We'll talk a little bit about actual costs. Sometimes this can actually be tricky to identify because it might be harder to get real-time information on actual cost spend, but that's what it means, right? How much did we actually spend in the performance of work? To get a certain amount of work done, how much did it cost us? And then earned value is the one that's a little bit trickier to understand sometimes, so we'll unpack it. We'll pick it apart a little bit. Earned value, for the work that we finished, how much did the plan say we would spend? So another way of saying this is, what was the planned value for the work that we actually performed? For the work that we finished, how valuable was it to us? Earned value, right? How valuable was that work to us? How much was it worth to us? And that's where we see the difference between cost and value, right? The plan indicated a certain amount of value that work had for us. There's the amount we spent on it, but how much value did we actually earn, right? Because if I tell you that an activity was supposed to cost $10, it actually only cost $9, well, I don't really know if that's good or bad news yet. How much value did I get for the $9 I spent, right? If I got $9 worth of work done, I'm doing okay. If I got $10 worth of work done, I'm doing great. If I only got $8 worth of work done, if I only earned $8 worth of value for the $9 that I spent and the $10 that I was supposed to have spent, right? That's not great news. So we need this earned value variable in there to tell us not just what did we spend, but how valuable was the work that we completed. How valuable to us was the work that we completed. And we'll give an example to walk through this a little bit and identify how do we come up with these numbers. How do we identify these three variables when we are analyzing our project performance. And we're going to use a very simple project here. We're going to build a barn, and as you can see, the reason that this project is simple is because its cost, its schedule, its scope are very straightforward. Our scope, we have 5 deliverables. We have 4 walls and a roof, right? Wall 1, Wall 2, Wall 3, Wall 4, and the roof, those are our 5 deliverables on this project. That represents our scope. Each one of those deliverables, right? Each piece of scope, each one of those deliverables will take us exactly 1 day on our schedule. For a total of a 5-day schedule, each wall is going to take us 1 day to build, the roof is going to take us 1 day to build. And lucky us, because this is the simplest project in the world, the most straightforward at least, the cost is also a very nice, tidy $100 per deliverable, therefore $100 per day. So every day, we're going to get 1 deliverable done, we will have spent a day to get it done, and we will have, hopefully, according to the plan, spent $100 to get it done. So how does this translate into planned value? How much money does the plan say we will spend, right? Planned value is cumulative. So as I look at my planned value column here, and this is represented in blue. I know that not everybody can see that, but we do have a color scheme here, right? I've got blue mapping to planned value, green mapping to earned value, red mapping to actual costs. So my blue column here, this first column for planned value, it's a cumulative total. So my planned value at the end of day 1, $100. And again, I want to emphasize, yes, I'm talking in dollars, but that doesn't just represent the cost, does it? This $100 of planned value also represents 1 day of work being done for 1 deliverable being completed. In this case, the first day should have completed wall number 1, right? So this is a cumulative total. At the end of day 1, it's $100. At the end of day 2, it's $200. So forth down each day of our project. By the end, we will have worked for 5 days, spent a total of $500. So planned value is a cumulative total of what do we expect to spend, and that dollar figure doesn't only represent the cost, it represents the scope, schedule, and the cost. Now to look at and understand earned value for the work we finished, how much did the plan say we would spend, and actual cost, how much did we actually spend, we'll have to jump ahead into our project, right? We know the planned value numbers from the very get-go, from the very beginning. We can see what is the planned value at every point in the project. For earned value, let's go ahead and jump ahead to day 3. We are at the end of day 3 and we want to know what's our earned value. Total, cumulative over the 3 days that we have worked. Earned value for the work that we finished, how much did the plan say we would spend? So what we need to figure out is how much work did we actually finish? We're here at the end of day 3 and we're actually a little bit behind. We completed wall number 1, we completed wall number 2, we're working on wall number 3, but it's not done yet for work that we finished. So earned value, we only get credit for the deliverables we've actually completed. We could take a much deeper dive on that, but for simplicity's sake, let's say that we only get 100% of the credit when we complete the work. We don't get any sort of half credit for being partially done that wall. So if at the end of day 3, I've only actually completed wall number 1 and wall number 2, my earned value is $200 because that is the planned value for the work I actually completed. So my earned value at the end of day 3, $200, as we said, representing the deliverables, wall number 1 and wall number 2. My first 2 deliverables had a planned value of $200. That's all I've gotten done, so that's my earned value. Actual cost, we would have to basically determine how much did it cost for us to complete wall number 1 and wall number 2. What have been the actual costs incurred to date in terms of how much did we spend on getting that work done? And let's just say that as project managers, we've been tracking the costs. We're totaling up the labor hours and the labor rates. We're also identifying any materials, any costs that were incurred during these first 3 days of work. And we total it all up and we see that our actual cost was $400. And I want to give a quick aside. We mentioned earlier that sometimes actual cost is tough to identify. That is because in our situation, I'm only working for a total of 5 days, so I might be able to keep close track of all that stuff just watching it all, right? But on a large project or program, right, maybe reporting periods from the accountants, right? Reporting periods from an invoicing standpoint, reporting periods from a timesheet standpoint. This might be data that actually takes a little bit of time to roll in. These might be data that actually take a little bit of time to roll in, right? Because it takes that amount of time for invoices to get processed. It takes that amount of time for timesheets to get approved and processed. So we might not have real-time visibility into the actual costs, right? Team members, this is why our bosses, this is why our project managers are always hounding us for the actual real-time data on our spend and on our schedule. It's because, yes, they're going to see it when the invoices roll in a month from now, but they need to be able to report on it today. So I said that was an aside. Let's get ourselves back in here. We've identified that at the end of day 3, because we only completed 2 walls, that means we have earned $200 worth of value. It's the planned value for the work we actually completed. We've been tracking our spend very closely, and we have identified that our actual cost spent to date is $400. What are we going to do with that information? Well, I guess you're just going to have to come back for part 2 of this knowledge snack. Again, I'm Jeff Beveridge of Corner Post Management Experts. These knowledge snacks are great for learning, great for fueling your appetite for future learning. And what we want you to do is, if you found this helpful, like it, share it, follow it, subscribe to it, whatever button they've got on whatever platform you're watching this video on. Share the knowledge with others, and join us again for part 2. We'll come back and find out, what are we going to do with this information? How can we find out how our project is doing? See you real soon.